Good morning students. Today we'll continue with the other evaluation test of suspension. In the previous class we have discussed about the sedimentation methods and in which the parameters used to measure the parameters for evaluation included here sedimentation volume, degree of flocculation and redispersibility. Those were the important parameters measured in a sedimentation methods. Coming to a rheological methods. So in addition to the techniques involving sedimentation and redispersibility factors, your rheological methods can also be used to determine the settling behavior and the arrangement of the vehicle and the particle structural features for the purpose of comparison. So whenever you are comparing different formulations, apart from your sedimentation method which measures sedimentation volume, degree of flocculation and redispersibility, your rheological method can also be used to determine the settling behavior and the arrangement of the vehicle and also the particle structural features for the purpose of comparison. Okay, so the majority of these rheological investigations of the suspension systems, they have been done at high shear rates. And for present purpose, for present testing of the rheological method, that is the viscosity measurement of the suspensions, we have a practical approach which uses a Brookfield viscometer. So let us discuss about what is Brookfield viscometer. A practical approach of measuring a viscosity involves using a Brookfield viscometer which is mounted on a helipad stand. So here Brookfield viscometer is mounted on a helipad stand and it is having a T-bar spindle. So that T-bar spindle, it is made to descend slowly into a suspension. Can you imagine, suppose there is a suspension formulation in a beaker and there is suspension formulation in a beaker and in that you are descending a T-bar spindle. Okay, the T-bar spindle is made to descend slowly into suspension and the dial reading on the viscometer, it is a measure of the resistance. So it is connected to a dial. Whatever the dial reading it is showing, that dial reading is a measure of the resistance the spindle meets at various levels in a sediment. So can you imagine, we are dipping the sediment T-bar spindle in this. So at various points it will come into contact with various undisturbed levels of a suspension. So at each level, at each of these level, what is the viscosity, that can be shown by the dial reading. So the spindle meets the various levels in a sediment and the dial reading on the viscometer, it is a measure of the resistance the spindle meets. The spindle is meeting at various levels in a sediment. So these are the various levels of the sediment, or at all these levels what is the resistance the spindle is meeting, that is shown on the dial. In this technique, the T-bar is continuously changing the position. I have told you the T-bar, it is continuously changing the position. First it is up, then it is descending downwards, then downwards. So it is continuously changing the position, the T-bar spindle. In this technique, the T-bar is continuously changing the position and it measures the viscosity of the undisturbed samples. Okay, and it measures undisturbed samples as it advances down into the suspension. So as it is advancing down in the suspension at various points, what are the viscosity it is showing. This technique also indicates in which level of suspension the structure is greater. That means the particle structure. He is telling that I am telling you, suppose the T-bar spindle is here. Here the particles are dispersed and when it moves down, suppose it is an aggregate of particles. So this will show where is the structure high. That means where is the structure greater. So this technique also indicates in which level of suspension the structure is greater. So why will be the structure of particle greater? Owing to the particle agglomeration. So this technique is indicating in which level of suspension the structure is greater due to particle agglomeration, because the T-bar descends as it rotates. So it is as it is rotating, this T-bar, it is descending downwards into the suspension and the bar, this T-bar, it is continually entering new and essentially undisturbed material. So this I have already told you, there is every level it is having a undisturbed new material. So this technique it is indicate in which level the structure is greater due to particle agglomeration, and as the T-bar is rotating, it will enter the new and undisturbed position. As the T-bar it is rotating, it is continuously entering the new and essentially undisturbed material. Thus by using T-bar spindle and the helipad, so by using this T-bar spindle and the helipad, The dial reading can be plotted against number of turns of the spindle. So to get an estimation, or when you want to compare different, you can plot a graph between a dial reading versus number of turns of the spindle. Number of turns of the spindle. The graph can be plotted between the dial reading and the number of turns of the spindle. Okay. Data obtained on samples, various, you can use this data on variously aged samples and stored samples. So that data will indicate whether undesired changes are taking place or not. Okay, so by using this data, you can come to know whether over a period of time what undesired changes are taking place. Why? Because see, if the graph is like this, then it means that the dial reading, it is same how much ever the time has passed, how much ever that spindle had turned. So this is a better suspension, right? So the results indicate how particles are settling with time. Obviously the results are indicating how particles are settling with time. And in a screening study, better suspensions show lesser rate of increase of dial reading with spindle turns. That is, the curve is horizontal for a longer period. So as I have told you, whenever you are doing a screening studies, better suspensions are those. So in a screening study, better suspensions show lesser rate of increase of dial reading. Suppose increase means the graph will be like this, right? So if they are showing increase, that means over the period of time the particle settling has increased. So the rate of increase of the dial reading, it should not increase. It should be, the curve should be horizontal for a longer period for a better suspension. So this data will help you to screen different suspensions, and you can get information about various formulations on various samples, how much time they are stored, and what is the particle size changes that is occurring over the period of time, the viscosity changes that you can measure. So this is thus using this T-bar spindle, you can get a measurement on the undisturbed samples of different ages, and the results will indicate how particles are settling with time. So whenever you are getting the results, that results will show you how particles they are settling with time. And I have already told you, better suspensions are those which show less rate of increase of dial reading with spindle turns. Dial reading with spindle turns, there should be a less increase. That means the curve is horizontal for a longer period of time. So this is with your rheological method. Okay, next coming to your electrokinetic technique, which measures the zeta potential. In this electrokinetic technique, measurement of zeta potential is done using microelectrophoresis apparatus or your Zeta plus. You have both two apparatus for measuring your zeta potential. Okay, zeta, here your first migration velocity of the particles can be also be measured. Then zeta potential, the units for zeta potential, it is in volts. So coming to the working of Zeta plus. Zeta plus, it is nothing but, you can have a look at it. It will be just look like any other spectrophotometer. Like you will have a cuvette, you will place your sample, and there will be a software which will give you the zeta potential reading. So if you observe your ultra double with UV spectrophotometer, all this works like this only. You have a cuvette, and whenever you switch on the power, that means the lambda wavelength of particular light passes through and ignites the sample, and you can get the reading. So the working of Zeta plus is similar to that. You will take 1 ml of suspension into a plastic cuvette. Okay, the zeta potential, it shows the stability of a dispersed system. The measurement of zeta potential is important because it will show you the stability of dispersed system. So how you do is, 1 ml of suspension, you will transfer it into a plastic cuvette. 1 ml of suspension was transferred into a plastic cuvette, and then it was diluted with distilled water. Okay, then the software which was used is the Brookhoven. The Brookhoven, B-R-O-O-K, Brook, H-O-V-E-N, the Brookhoven zeta potential software was used for the measurement of zeta potential. The Brookhoven zeta potential software was used for the measurement of zeta potential, and the parameters were set to a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade and refractive index of 1.33. So these parameters were set in the Zeta plus machine. The parameters, they were set at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade and refractive index was set at 1.33. Then the zeta potential of formulations, it was determined on day 0 of the formulation, day 7th of the formulation, 14, 21 and day 28 of the post formulation. So the zeta potential, it was determined on day 0, 7, 14, 21 and 28 of the post formulation. Okay, so now let us I want to summarize what is the effect of zeta potential on suspension properties. So this we have already discussed in flocculation and deflocculation, right? See, zeta potential, if it is in a particular range, what will happen? If it is low, if it is high, what are the parameters that will be affected and how your suspension will look like? So see your zeta potential. Okay, at a particular value, if the suspension it is weakly aggregated, right? You can see loose aggregates or flocks over the time. Okay, zeta potential over the time, then over the period of time, this weakly aggregated, they will again form a better floccule structure. But if your zeta potential is reduced to a low value, that is nothing but it is done by your flocculating agents, right? Flocculating agents are nothing but your neutral electrolytes which will reduce the zeta potential of the system. So this we have discussed in flocculating agents. So now when your zeta potential is low, that means flocculation is occurring. So your system will have floccules, that is strong floccules, strong aggregates, and over the time these floccules will become more stronger. So here you can see the stronger floccule structure. Right, so this is a strongly aggregated system when the zeta potential is low. Coming to this, when the zeta potential is high, okay, this is well dispersed. This is nothing but a deflocculated system, right? If the zeta potential is increased to a particular value, the attractive forces will be decreased. The attractive forces between the particles get decreased and the repulsive forces dominate. So due to these repulsive forces, the particles are remaining individually dispersed, right? So they are well dispersed, and over the time their dispersion will increase. That means they will be remaining totally uniform dispersed in a suspension. So what are the parameters that will be affected with this zeta potential? Sedimentation stability. Sedimentation stability means these floccules, they will sediment very high. So sedimentation stability is good, and on a gentle agitation they will redisperse properly. So your sedimentation stability is good even when the zeta potential is low and when the system is strongly aggregated. And the sedimentation stability will also be good because the particles are individually remaining dispersed. So the rate of sedimentation will be decreased. Sedimentation stability will be more, but the rate of sedimentation is decreased in the dispersed system. Then viscosity. Viscosity, it will be low when the particles are individually suspended, because viscosity is measure of, you can say, thickness, right? So here viscosity will be very low because it is a very well dispersed system, and here the floccules are arranged strongly. So then here you will have a high viscosity, aggregates are there, loose flocks are there. So this kind of system will have high viscosity. Then maximum solids. Maximum solids will be present in this deflocculated kind of state where the particles are remaining individually dispersed. Whereas in a flocculated system, you can see aggregates or flocks which are stronger and which settle down. So maximum solid content will be low in this kind of flocculated system. So I think now the concept became very clear to you. Zeta potential and zeta potential at a particular value is desirable because it will keep the system at a controlled flocculation. So this I have already told you. Zeta potential, it can be measured by microscopic electrophoresis technique also, and it is found that certain zeta potential will produce more stable suspension because the aggregation is controlled and optimized. Because of the controlled aggregation, your suspension will be a stable one, right? So this is nothing but a flocculating agents. When zeta potential is reduced to low, you will have a flocculating system. When the zeta potential is high, due to the repulsive forces and less attractive forces, the particles are remaining dispersed and it becomes a deflocculated system. So what are the parameters that are affected at a high zeta potential and at a low zeta potential? So you can also have a look at this. This is a critical zeta potential range. Plus 10 millivolts, I have told you the unit for zeta potential is volts. In the critical zeta potential range, yes, suspension is not stable. That is the range of between plus 10 millivolts to minus 10 millivolts. And if your zeta potential is positive, this is the case, right? High, positive zeta potential, yes, it is stable. And even if your zeta potential is negative, it is stable. So this is the diagram for a dispersed system. Critical zeta potential range, not stable, plus 10 to minus 10 millivolt, positive zeta potential, negative zeta potential. Okay, so this is the effect of zeta potential on suspension properties, measured using microelectrophoresis and zeta plus, and the procedure and then how it affects the suspension stability, and rheological methods in which you measure the viscosity. The leftover technique is the micromeretic techniques in which you will measure the particle size changes over a period of time. So in the next class we'll discuss about that, and we will finish about evaluation techniques for the suspension. Evaluation of the suspension stability. With that we'll finish suspensions, and then we'll start here with emulsions. So this suspensions emulsions you have already studied in your pharmaceutics. So just you have to study here in detail, and you should know the reason for each and every behavior, how it happens. For example, zeta potential, if it is low, how it affects, what it affects. If zeta potential is high, how it affects, what it affects, and what are the stability changes that occur over a period of time. That all you should be able to understand. Please make the notes from the video, Lackman, and I have referred internet also. So please follow the video carefully, and in case of any doubts you can pin me. Please go through each and every detail. This is not there in Lackman, this effect of zeta potential and suspension properties, and here this graph showing the zeta potential stability. So please note down carefully from the video and prepare the notes. Thank you.